Hi everyone, today we're going to be doing lesson 5.5a, day 1. This lesson has quite a few parts to it. We're going to rewrite an equation in standard form. So our goal today is to rewrite an equation in standard form. Don't forget you can pause the video anytime you need to. This is what standard form of an equation looks like. You have a number times x plus a number times y, and that will equal another number. So in this case, our a, we want to have it as a positive number. We don't want a negative in front. We want this one to be positive. Our a, b, and c, all of them need to be integers. In other words, no decimals, no fractions. They need to be positive and negative whole numbers, or 0. So let's rewrite this equation in standard form using integers. Well, remember, I think I have that up here maybe, that, oops, I did not, and so I need to go back. Our standard form is ax plus by equals c. So I want to get my x and my y's over here and my final number, my constant, over here. So let's feed the birds to start with. I have 3 times x, that's 3x. 3 times negative 2, negative 6. And then over here I have y minus 8. I can add 8 to both sides. The order I do this in is not really particular. So I want to make sure I get my x's and y's on one side and my numbers, constants on the other. So now I have y equals 3x, and negative 6 plus 8 is plus 2. I'm getting there. Now my 3x is still over here, so I got to move that to the other side. Do you recognize the form that it was in? That is point slope form. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Remember, I cannot combine x's and y's. They are not like terms. I'm left with 2 over here. I have negative 3x plus y equals 2. Now this is almost done. You might say it is done. I have ax plus by equals c, except I have a negative coefficient on my x. I don't want a negative x. So how can I get rid of that? I can multiply everything by negative 1. If I do that to the left side of the equation, I need to do it on the right side of the equation also. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. That can be a negative number. That is fine. Negative 1 times negative 3x is positive 3x. Negative 1 times y is negative y. Now I have it in standard form. 3x minus y equals negative 2. So if I asked you what a, b, and c were, a is 3, b would be negative 1, c negative 2. Okay, let's look at this one. Need to move my x over here. I don't have any numbers over here, so I just need to add 0.4x to both sides. This cancels out. I'm left with 1.2 on this side. And on the left side, I have 0.4 x plus y equals 1.2. Well, that's all fine and good, except for the fact that I have a decimal. Actually, I have a couple of them, and I said they all have to be integers. I cannot have decimals. So how can I get rid of that? Well, to make 0.4 into a whole number, I'd have to multiply by 10. That would move my decimal point one place to the right. If I move my decimal one place to the right here, that would also make this 12. So let's multiply both sides by 10. Then I have 4x plus 10y. Don't forget to feed both birds. Distribute to the y also. 10 times y, 10y, equals 1.2 times 10, as I said, is 12. So now I have ax plus by equals c. 4 is my a, 10 is my b, 12 is my c. My first number is positive, and they're all integers. This time I have a fraction. That sounds fun. Okay, so first things first, let's get my x over here. I'm going to subtract 3/5 x from both sides. And I think you'll see right away that I have two problems. My first problem is my x is negative. My second problem is my x is a fraction. So I get to solve both those problems. Well, the easiest way to get rid of this 5 down here is to multiply by 5. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to multiply by 5 to get rid of that denominator. But I also have a negative to get rid of, because this can't be negative. So instead of just multiplying by plain 5, I'm going to multiply by negative 5. That will get rid of the negative and the 5. So my negative 5 and my 5 here will cancel out and leave me with 3x. Negative 5 times 5y will be negative 5y. And 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. You see how if I multiply this by 5, simplifying, that 5 and that 5 will simplify. Negative, negative, make a positive. Now it is written in standard form. They're all integers. I got my x, my y, and then my number, my ax, by, c. And my first number is positive. Okay, this one, again, is written in point slope form. So let's feed the birds. I lost my pen, I think. Okay. So negative 4/3 times x is negative 4/3 x. Negative 4/3 times 9. Well, my 9 can simplify with 3 and make it a 3. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. And over here I have y minus 2. If you need to use your calculator to multiply your fraction and your whole number, I have no problem with that. I would rather have you use your calculator and get a correct answer than make a mistake and get it wrong. But you should try to remember your multiplication and fraction rules. Simplify, simplify. And left with y equals negative 4/3. Feels like lots of steps, doesn't it? Negative 12 plus 2 is negative 10. Okay, let's move this to the other side by adding 4/3 x to both sides. Now I have 4/3 x, at least it's positive this time, plus y will equal negative 10. I am not done yet. I have a fraction still, so I need to multiply everything by that denominator. Multiply everything by 3. That will get rid of that 3 right here. 3 times 4/3. Oops, lost my x. 3 times 4/3 x is 4x. 3 times y is 3y. And then 3 times negative 10 is negative 30. So my final equation in standard form is 4x plus 3y equals negative 30. I said 30 and I wrote 10. I don't know why. Negative 30. Okay, so now I want to write an equation of a line that passes through the point 3,5 and has a slope of negative 2. I want to write it in standard form. Well, that's a lot of stuff. I'm going to start by writing it in slope-intercept form. But in order to do that, I need an intercept. Actually, no. Instead of that, I'm going to start in point-slope form because I have a point and I have a slope. That's going to be easier. So y minus my y value, 5, equals, forgot that we already learned point-slope form. Negative 2 is my slope times x minus my x value, which is 3. Let's distribute, multiply negative 2 times x, negative 2 times negative 3. Draw my little wiggly lines down. I have negative 2x. And negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. And I still have y minus 5 on this side. So let's get rid of that minus 5 by adding 5 to both sides. So now I have y equals negative 2x. And do you notice that it is now in slope-intercept form? The intercept's 11. Just doing a little pass-through slope-intercept form while I add 2x to both sides to get it over to standard form. This cancels out. So now I'm left with 2x plus y equals 11. Okay, similar. I have a point, I have a slope, so point-slope form seems the obvious choice. For some reason it wasn't obvious to me last time. Y minus 5 equals, my slope is 1/3. 1/3 x minus -6. So that's going to become a +6. Let's feed the birds. 1/3 times x is 1/3 x. I'm just going to draw one line. 1/3 times 6 is 2. And I still have y minus 5 on this side. Let's add 5 to both sides. Notice I'm going to be in slope-intercept form again. Always do a nice little pass through there. Y equals 1/3 x plus 7. I'm getting there. I'm going to subtract 1/3 x from both sides. And you've probably already seen my issues I have with this one. I have negative 1/3 x. So it is negative and it is a fraction. Plus y equals 7. So let's get rid of this by multiplying by 3 and get rid of the negative by multiplying by a -3. I don't know what happened there. Multiply by -3. Multiply by -3. On the right side, I will have a -21. 7 times -3. Then over here, I'm going to distribute. -3 times -1/3 is a positive. I forgot my exit again. Positive 1x. -3 times y is -3y. So x minus 3y equals -21. Let's move on. I was doing a quick mental check in my head to make sure I did it right. When changing a decimal to a whole number, because remember, we want our a to be a whole number, you can multiply everything by 10 or 100 depending on the value. So if it was in the hundredths place, you'd multiply by 100. If it was in the tenths place, you multiply by 10. When changing a fraction to a whole number, multiply everything by the common denominator. Simplify if you have to. So remember, in order to write an equation in standard form, it has to be in a different form first, and then rewritten into standard form. Slope-intercept form it can be, and it can be in point-slope form. And then get it to ax plus by equals c. That's it. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.